make a lot of chicken stew in the winter. I take my chicken, I put it onto braise, and then I usually add potatoes to the pot, but not this time. This time I'm going to use plantains instead. They're going to thicken the sauce, and I'm also going to flavor it with a little bit of orange juice, a little bit of lime juice. The whole thing just becomes tropical and helps me pretend that I'm somewhere warm. I always like to season my chicken ahead. The farther in advance that you can do this, the more flavorful your chicken is going to be. So I'm going to add salt, and then I'm also going to add some spices just to deepen the flavor, shall we say. Spice things up. And then I'm going to add some citrus zest. Whenever I use the juices of a citrus fruit, I often use the zest along with it because it just intensifies the flavor. And now we do it with the lime. And I have very clean hands. I'm just gonna rub all of this all over the chicken, and then I'm gonna put it away just in the fridge for a couple of hours, or if you have time to do it overnight, that's great. So my chicken's been sitting all day. It is ready for the pot. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of oil, just enough to kind of coat the bottom. So while the chicken browns, I'm just gonna cut up the plantains. You can use plantains at any stage of ripeness. For this recipe, I want them sweet. Not totally black. You see they're mostly black, but there's still some yellow because I want them to be firm enough to slice. You want to just cut the tops, and then I'm going to make a slit going right down the center. And I'm looking for about 1/2 inch-ish slices. And what's so great about plantains is, you know, they're going to add that sweetness, which is really nice, but they're also going to throw off a lot of starch and thicken the stew up. And then when the chicken's done, I'll fry these up. Just going to check on these and see if they're ready to flip. Yes, they are. Now I'm going to brown the plantains right in this chicken fat. Once your plantains are done, just check for oil, just enough to coat the bottom. And then I'm going to add my onions, some red pepper, and chopped garlic. A little more oregano, and then salt. 2 teaspoons, you need a lot of salt. And now my liquids. I've got water here, orange juice, same orange that I zested, and canned tomatoes. I'm gonna bring this to a simmer, and then I'm gonna add the chicken and plantains back to the pot. Just wanna give it a stir, kind of make sure everything is tucked in, let's just say. And I'm gonna lower the heat, cover it, and let it cook for about 25-30 minutes until the chicken's just done. Oh yeah, I can see that that's done. That's practically falling apart. Because this is a very sweet tasting stew at this point. It's got the tomatoes and peppers and onions and plantains. So I want to add something to kind of zing it up a bit. Lime juice, olives, give that a little stir. Time to serve it. You could take all the chicken meat off the bone if you wanted to, you know, once it was cool enough to handle, and then put it back in the stew, but I do not have the patience for that. And I'm just gonna put a little cilantro on for freshness. It does have a little bit of the tropics in there, but mostly it's just a really good chicken stew. Plus, if you don't tell people what they're eating, they're gonna think, what is this, a sweet potato? They're not gonna be sure. And then you're gonna say, plantain. You're like, wow, plantain. I never would have thought of that. Unless, of course, they're from Puerto Rico, in which case they will bite into the plantain and say, ooh, plantain, yum. Right?